All right, let's get right into it. Think about this. Every single second of your life, you're sending out an invisible signal. And this signal, it's what decides if people are going to trust you, if they respect you, or if they just ignore you completely. The crazy part is, most of us are just broadcasting our inner chaos without even knowing it. But what if you could actually grab the controls? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're hacking into your inner world so you can be the one setting the frequency. You see, the real game, it's got nothing to do with what you're actually saying. I mean, forget the fancy words, your job title, all that stuff. It's all about the emotional frequency you're leaking every single day. And you've felt this, for sure. You know that instant comfort you feel with a total stranger who hasn't even said a word yet? Or that weird uneasy tension when a certain person walks into a room? Yeah, that's not magic. That is the signal. It's why two people can say the exact same sentence and one of them captivates the whole room while the other one just gets ignored. It was never about the script. It's all about what they radiate. So this leads to probably the most important question we're going to talk about today. Who is setting your dial? Because here's the deal. If you're not consciously in control, then something else is. Your insecurities, your fears, maybe even the people around you are setting it for you. You're either the one broadcasting or you're just a receiver, automatically tuning into somebody else's frequency. The choice is yours. But the thing is, up until right now, you might not have even known you had a choice to make. And look, this isn't some kind of weird, mystical concept. This is pure neurology. The actual hardware in your brain behind this signal, it's called mirror neurons. These little guys are the reason you flinch when you see someone else get hurt, right? Or why a yawn can just rip through an entire room. Your brain doesn't just see things, it mirrors them. And it's not just for actions, it does the exact same thing with emotions. That's why anxiety is so contagious and why excitement can spread like wildfire. People aren't just hearing your words. Their brains are literally syncing up with your emotional state in real time. Okay, but before you can even think about controlling your signal, you need a strong tower to broadcast from, right? I mean, a powerful frequency just can't come from a fragile, shaky foundation. So step one, the absolute groundwork, is building authentic, unstoppable confidence. And I'm not talking about that fake it till you make it stuff. This is about earning it. So here's the thing you gotta understand. Real confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. So how do you do it? Well, first, you have to totally reframe how you see failure. Stop thinking of it as weakness. A mistake isn't a dead end. It's just data. It's a signpost telling you where you need to grow. Second, you have to actually gain experience. You have to actively seek out new situations, push your comfort zone. Confidence is just the byproduct of overcoming things that used to scare you. And third, and this one's tough, you have to practice brutal honesty with yourself. I mean, really look at your strengths and weaknesses without blaming anyone or anything else. That's the only way you can actually start to improve. And let's be totally clear here. This is not the easy path. Not at all. Most people will always choose the comfortable route. But real, lasting strength, that's forged when you dare to walk the harder road on purpose. Think of it this way. Every single challenge you overcome adds another layer of armor, another brick in that foundation. It's what makes your signal go from weak and fuzzy to crystal clear and powerful. All right, so once that foundation is in place, we can move on to the master level. This is the real brain hack. This is what separates the people who are just pawns in the game from the ones who are actually playing the board. It's about making that crucial shift from being moved by every little impulse to becoming the chess player, the one who's always thinking 3 moves ahead. And the tool that gets you there is called metacognition. Now, I know that sounds like a super complex academic word, but it's actually incredibly simple. All it means is thinking about your thinking. So instead of being completely lost inside the hurricane of your own emotions, you take a step back. You become the observer, just watching the storm from a safe distance. And that right there, that's the key. It's the beginning of all real self-control. And you can really see the difference here between these two levels of thinking. You've got the pawn, right? The pawn is stuck in what we'd call level 1 thinking. It's pure reaction. An emotion hits, and boom, they act. Angry, so they yell. Nervous, so they avoid. They're basically a puppet being pulled around by emotional strings. But then you have the chess player. They operate on level 2. They feel that exact same emotion, but they do something different. They pause. They create this tiny little space between the feeling and their reaction. And in that space, they ask questions. And that is where all their power comes from. They don't just react. They choose their next move, strategically. So this whole metacognition thing isn't just one magic trick. It's really a set of 3 core skills. The first one is emotional labeling. This is about asking yourself, okay, am I really angry right now, or am I just embarrassed and my ego is trying to protect itself? You have to name the true emotion. The second is thought tracking. This is the big one. Realizing that just because a thought pops into your head doesn't make it true. You start to question your thoughts instead of just blindly believing them. And the third is strategic observation. This is like splitting your awareness. You're in the conversation, but part of your brain is watching from above, seeing the game behind the words, the hidden social dynamics.
Now, we have to pause here for a pretty serious warning, because this ability, it's a two-sided blade. The exact same awareness that can make you an inspiring, powerful leader can, in the wrong hands, turn you into a really dangerous manipulator. This isn't just a tool for self-improvement. Used without empathy, it's a weapon.
See, the skills themselves are totally neutral. It's all about the intent you bring to them. You can use this deep awareness to understand what someone really needs and connect with them on a genuine level. Or you can use it to pinpoint their deepest insecurities and use those to control them. The line between being a mastermind and being a monster, well, that comes down to the choice you make.
And this is where that difference becomes so stark you can't miss it. The mastermind uses strategic observation to figure out what people aren't saying so they can lead better, maybe even help heal a situation. The monster, they use it to find your exact emotional pressure points and press them. A mastermind inspires you by painting a positive vision, but a monster, they use something called thought inception. It's subtle. They just plant a tiny seed of doubt. Maybe a casual comment like, hey, are you sure you're ready for that big presentation? Just enough to make you start questioning yourself. Before you know it, you believe their negative idea was your own. It's incredibly effective and honestly pretty terrifying.
And this all forces us to ask a really tough personal question. When you get this kind of awareness, this kind of power, what happens when you pair it with a big ego, or with unresolved pain, or just a raw thirst for control? Who do you become when you think no one's watching? The truth is, you can't master this brain hack without being willing to face the potential darkness inside yourself first.
So, okay, how do we actually master this for ourselves? How do we make sure we stay on the right side of that line? Well, it all comes down to a daily practice. A simple, repeatable loop that takes all this theory and turns it into a real-world tool for emotional control and mental discipline. This is it. This is your formula. In any high-stakes moment, this is what you do. First, just pause. That's it, just for a second. Interrupt that automatic reaction. Second, label. Identify the true thought or emotion. Am I really angry, or do I just feel powerless right now? Third, question. Is this thought actually useful? What's its agenda? Is this just fear talking? And finally, number 4, choose. You choose to respond strategically instead of just reacting emotionally. If you practice this loop every single day, it becomes your psychological armor. It creates that all-important space between what happens to you and how you respond. And when you have that space, people will find it almost impossible to get under your skin. They can't provoke you, they can't manipulate you, they can't play you. Why? Because you're no longer a pawn in their game. You're too busy playing your own. You become unshakable.
So let's end where we began. Your strongest, most powerful influence happens in silence. It's broadcast through that emotional frequency that you radiate every moment of every day. And now you know the game is always being played, whether you realize it or not. So the only real question left is, what will your signal say?